Hello everybody, I'm Shylor and I'm back again. One of the things I want to do tonight is to show you how to install Wamp. Wamp stands for Windows Apache MySQL PHP. For anybody that's running Linux, you can use LAMP, which is it just means Linux Apache MySQL PHP. And then for Mac, you can use MAMP, and then there's also XAMPP. Now the LAMP stack, the difference between that is you normally, I believe, have to put it together. I don't think there's really a easy installer. You might be able to find one though. So, but for Windows, I like to use Wamp. Your choices are Wamp or XAMPP. Like I said, I tend to use Wamp. So, how do you go about getting Wamp? What you're going to do is you're going to go to Chrome, and I have this nicely bookmarked here for you. Right here, you're going to go to wampserver.com/en. There's also some other languages you can use, and this should be what the site looks like. You can scroll down to downloads or just click downloads up here. The one that I downloaded tonight is this Wamp Server 64-bit PHP 5.6 and PHP 7. And it's probably best to just install PHP 7 now because it just came out, I believe, in December. And so it's just best that you start learning PHP 7, as a lot of the developers are starting to look away from PHP 5.6. It's still supported in a lot of places, but by the time you get efficient in PHP, you'll probably be using PHP 7. So you can do that. If you do have a 32-bit computer, you can use 32-bit, but it does not come with PHP 7. There used to be 4 options here, so I don't know what happened to the other 2. Anyways, I already went ahead and downloaded this. When you click on this, the download link is actually right here. So this is where you download the software. But in some cases, you might end up having to download this Microsoft library. I've noticed that I've had problems before, especially when I reformat my computer and stuff like that. I might not have this library yet. So you might want to install that before you go ahead and do the direct download link. I already have Wamp on here, so I'm going to go ahead and try to install it just for this account. But I might run into some conflicts. So we'll go ahead and see, and then I'll show you another thing that you need to do if you're a Skype user to make sure that it doesn't conflict with Wamp. Now you're probably wondering why you might want Wamp. Wamp allows you to run a web server on your computer, so it's local, so other people can't really access it. There is ways to turn it on so other people can access it, but it will allow you to run like a little micro web server on your computer that allows you to kind of interact with your code like a web server would. It's not really needed at the beginning, but once you get to working with PHP and stuff like that, it is very beneficial to have. You pretty much need it, but it's beneficial to have, and it will also teach you a little bit of how web servers deal with managing your files and stuff like that. So we're just going to go ahead and pick English. I'll run you through this. Like I said, I'm not sure if it will install correctly, so I'm just going to accept the agreement. This is telling you about that library that I was telling you, or well, that I was just telling you about. It's just saying make sure you have it. It is kind of required. I'm going to change this to Wamp Shyu, so that way it installs as a separate Wamp server. This is just adding it to... I'm just kind of reading through this. Normally I just kind of fly through this to make sure that I don't screw up something else. So I'm going to change this to Shyu also. You don't have to do this. You can just run through this, honestly. Normally it's fine. We'll go ahead and hit install. So it'll go ahead and run through its install process. This will take a little bit of time. I don't think it's horrible. I didn't test this beforehand. So like I said, Wamp will allow you to view your website on your local computer like you would any other website on the web. The next video I'm going to show you how to work with the host file and also set up something in Wamp called vhost or virtual host that will allow you to basically type in, once you set it up correctly, you'll be able to type in mysimplesite.com or whatever the heck you want. It's not an official domain, it's not something that you can give to your friends, but on your local computer you'll be able to type in mysimplesite.com and your page will come up. So we'll work with the host file in the next video and set up your virtual host. This way it will feel a lot more like a website. This is taking a little bit longer. So like I said, there's Windows. This is Wamp, so it's Windows, Apache, MySQL, PHP. We'll just go through that really quick. So Windows, obviously, it's your operating system. Apache is the web server. So Apache is when you make a request to a website, Apache gets that request, it decides what files it needs, it decides what needs to happen to those files, and then once it's happy, it sends that to your browser. So that's pretty much what a web server does. MySQL is a database which allows you to store things like users. So as you can see, it's actually installing MySQL right now. It allows you to store users. You can store other information in it. It works heavily with PHP. So once we get to the PHP side, we'll start looking at MySQL. But it does allow you to store like user accounts and other data that the user might want to store, or pretty much anything. It depends really on what you're building of what you store in a MySQL. In the case of like a site with forms or something like that, the different threads are stored in the MySQL and retrieved based on information that you request. So, and lastly, PHP is a backend language for websites. There's multiple different backend languages you can use. You can use Python, you can use Ruby, PHP, Node.js, which is pretty much JavaScript for the backend. I'll kind of talk about that a little bit later. I'm kind of just learning that right now, so I haven't messed with it a lot. But there's a whole bunch of different languages you can use for websites for the backend part. So this is all installing. As you can see, it's almost finished, and it's running through a whole bunch of files. Wamp is relatively small, so it doesn't take up a lot of space. Okay, so this is saying basically iExplorer.exe or Internet Explorer will be used as your browser by Wamp Server. I don't like using Internet Explorer, so what I'm going to say is I'm going to say no, or wait. You want to choose another browser to install? Yes, I do want to choose another browser. So it will pop up this and you have no clue what you're doing. So what you need to do is, if you use Chrome, I'm not sure where Firefox is, but if you use Chrome, you can go to this PC, go to your C drive, go to Program Files x86, and look for Google, and Chrome, and Application, and then select this Chrome.exe. And if you did not turn on that file extension, it will just say Chrome. So if you have that file extension thing we looked at yesterday, it will say .exe. And then just click Open. It now understands that. It's saying that that Notepad.exe will be your default editor. You can set this if you want. I use Atom. I'm not sure right now where Atom is stored, so I'm just going to say no and let it use Notepad. I'm going to use Atom anyways. So that's what that is. And then this is asking for permission to get through your firewall. Just allow access for it. You can go through that if you want on your own. This is PHP My Admin, and this allows you to actually have a fancy interface for managing your MySQL. I like PHP My Admin a lot, so I'm going to go ahead and let that go through. And now we should see. Nope, it didn't actually start it, so we have to start it. So Wamp server. This is I'm gonna guess it's this one right here because it actually has the icon. Actually, it's right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Forgot to throw my Discord into streaming mode. So just a second for me. And okay, so now I have that done, so I shouldn't get notifications like that anymore. So pretty much we should have Wamp running. If you click on your box down here at the bottom, you can see this is the Wamp W here. And let's see what we can do next. So the next thing we need to do is we need to look at Skype. So if you have Skype, or if you don't use Skype, honestly, you can skip ahead. But if you do use Skype, there's an important thing, because right now you can see that this is green, but sometimes it will get locked up on yellow or orange, I guess. And that usually means that you have Skype installed and Skype's being a jerk. So if you go to Tools and then Options in Skype, I'll go ahead and bring this over on the other screen. You should get a menu like this. You need to go to Advanced, Connections, and then basically check this box here. After you do this and you hit save, Skype will ask you to restart Skype. So you can pretty much just go down here, right click on this, exit, and then restart Skype. I'm just going to exit Skype. So I think, oh, it's asking me if am I sure I want to quit. And so pretty much once you do that, you should be able to just click on this. So you'll get different menus. If you left click on this, you'll get this menu, and if you right click on it, you'll get this menu. Most of the time you'll end up just wanting this menu. So once this happens, you can left click on this, go to restart all services, and you'll see it changing colors. Normally it'll be stopped at that orange color, and it will go to red. That means it's off, and then it starts booting up to blue, or to orange, and then it goes to green, and that means it's online. So if I go to my browser right now and I type in localhost, I should see this fancy little Wamp page. Yes, this means that Wamp is installed correctly, and you're pretty much ready to go. So I normally just kind of throw this page out the window, so I'll delete this probably in an upcoming thing, but it does give you some information. It tells you, what your MySQL version is, the different extensions. Is this? I think these are PHP extensions here. I'm actually not sure. Yeah, these are PHP extensions. Or they might be Apache extensions. We'll say they're Apache extensions anyways. This is the Apache that you're using, and it's on the default port of 80. That's why we type in localhost and it shows up. What PHP version I'm currently on. If I want to flip over to PHP 7, what you'll do is you'll click on this. You'll come up to PHP, go to version, go to 7.0.4, and then you'll wait for it to go back to green again. So it's actually starting up PHP 7 right now. Okay, now it's green, so if I refresh this, you can see that PHP version is now 7.0.4. Apache, yep. So we are now running on PHP 7. There's not a huge amount of differences between 5 and 7. Well, there is some huge between 5.6 and 7. They really didn't do a lot of changes to it, but we'll get into PHP. Once we get into PHP, that'll make more sense. So if you go into your browser, you go to localhost, it'll work. If you want to actually go into an IP address, you can do 127.0.0.1. You do that, you'll get the same result. And this is pretty much Wamp, and we'll look into how to set up our website to actually run through this in a future video. My next video will be on how to set up the host file and how to configure the vhost on Wamp, so that way you can type in, something like mysimplesite.com, and it'll bring up your website or whatever the heck you want to type. You'll be able to figure that out. So that's the end of this video, and if you like these videos so far, subscribe, give me some comments, whatever. If you don't like the videos, then you don't have to watch them. Your choice. Thanks for watching.